Hi, welcome to MBTV. My name is Trey. Today I'm going to be talking about Enneagram 9. If you guys don't know what the Enneagram is, it's essentially it's your life strategy. It is something that you kind of grew up with, and it's a struggle you grew up with, and now you always kind of try to fulfill that struggle, like it's an empty part of you. And on the Enneagram, it's all about fluctuation, moving on, developing further. So Enneagram is about growth and about your next stages. It's about the stages of development of your soul. So, for me, I'm a type 5, meaning that I'm more focused on understanding things, and there's a reason for that. I'll get into that in the Enneagram 5 video. But I feel I need to be capable, and in order to understand enough to be able to move on to type 8, which is all about action and like achievement in a way. So I'll get on to 8 some other time, and I'll touch on it a little bit in this video. But this video is about type 9. So a misconception that we have with type 9 is that the people have no opinion or no personal, they have no bias, and that's a good thing, but people think that they're pushovers in a way. So I'm going to cover why it may appear that way and what it really is, and I'm going to cover that really quick. Alright, let's get started with misconceptions of type 9. So this pushover idea, this idea that type 9s are a pushover. Okay, so let me explain the triads really quick. So it's important to the explanation. Triads, there are 3 different triads, and in each triad there are three types. So altogether there are 9 types on the Enneagram. However, there are 3 different groups, and those groups being the instinctive group, the heart group, and the head group. So the instinctive group is all about gut instinct, like action, and the heart group is all about like feelings and things of the sort, and then the head group is all about like thinking. So all these types are in these places for reasons, and in each group you have one of them that overexpresses, one of them that underexpresses, and one that represses. So for 8, 9, and 1, that's the instinctive group. The instinctive group is all about action. It's all about responding well to the environment. It's all about this inner knowing about what they have to do. And normally this makes them really great leaders because they have this instinct as to what they need to do. So that is the 8, 9, and 1. They're all in this instinct group. However, the 8 is the one that overexpresses this instinct. The 1 is the one that underexpresses the instinct, and the 9 is the one that represses the instinct. So the way this works is the 8 is all about making sure that the outside environment has no control on them. The 8 is all about making sure that they can feel like the outside world does not cover over their instincts. So if the 8 has something that they need to react on, the 8 would hate it for the outside world to be able to hold back on that instinct, for it to be able to repress that instinct. So for them, they are constantly engaging these instincts, these feelings that they have to do something. They engage on it right when it happens. That's an 8, very overexpressing on that instinct feel. The 1 is underexpressing, and for the type 4, they are underexpressing feelings. So they find the feelings within themselves, and it causes them to have a very deep understanding of themselves. For type 1, they are underexpressing this instinct. So they are always looking for perfection. They are always looking for the understanding of what it is in themselves that they need to act on. So the type 1 will always be looking for things that they can act on. The type 8 is all about the type 9 is in between these two. And see, when you have the underexpressing and overexpressing, the middle is not necessarily repressed in and of itself. It's repressed because it deals with both sides. You have one side of the 8, one side of the triad, and it's the 8, and it's trying to overexpress its instinct, act, make sure the environment has no control over them, and the one that looks within themselves, understand what instinct it is that they need to act on. And so these two forces are very they're headed in two different directions. So for the 9, they're caught right in between that. The 9 is constantly trying to determine how it is that they're supposed to balance the outside world and the inside world. So for the 9, what ends up happening is they usually because they have to focus on two places at once, they ended up like trying to juggle them both, and it really doesn't work. So the 9, it does work, and that's why it's repressive, is because they're juggling both at the same time. Trying to understand what it is that they can do in the outside world so that the outside world has no control over them, but at the same time looking inwards, it's very hard to act. And so this gives the 9 a centeredness and an unbiased kind of viewpoint, because for them, they don't really know how they're supposed to react. They don't know if they're supposed to react for the outside world or react towards the inside world. So for them, they're right in between. So I even heard someone today, they said something like they fluff up their words and stuff and try to make things sound less bad. Now, the 9 is not trying to make things look less bad. The 9 is seeing things as less bad, and that's because in this part where they're trying to understand how they're supposed to react for the outside world, but also looking internally, the 9 will imagine a reality where they don't have to react necessarily. A lot of times 9s will get caught in this imagination. My dog. A lot of times 9 will get caught in this creating a world where everything that they see there's a reason for it. There is some kind of reason as to why that person is acting that way. For the 9s, it's all about understanding that everything is kind of valid. They don't have to act on the outside world and take control of it, and they don't have to look within themselves because everything's okay. And so for the 9, they create these imagination, they kind of like imagine why people are doing what they do, and in a way that kind of relieves them from having to, take control or look within themselves. Because a lot of times 1s will put their own opinion on others, and a lot of times it's because of their own selves. They're being very self-critical. And so for a 1, they're caught right in between being self-critical and controlling the outside world. And so it causes this very peaceful person. So the 9 is very unbiased in that sense, not knowing how to react. Now that we got the basic 9 covered, all right, so we're going to talk about the wing now. The wing is the complement to your personality. It is it's like the other side. Your focus is on your actual core type, but you have a wing that kind of complements that. It can even contradict your original type. So with the 9 wing 8, they are more focused on this control on the outside environment, ensuring that the outside environment has no control over their inner instincts. Now, the wing is not constantly in play. The wing kind of comes in here and there. So for me, I'm a 5 wing 4, so I'm usually in this very critical thinking mindset. But a lot of times, it's not even that common. It's at least a few times every day I'll switch over to this the wing 4, which is very, very much more. It's much more emotional. So for the type 9, when it goes to wing 8, it's branching out into this understanding that they do not want the outside world to control them. So they feel they need to act out. And so I have a 9 wing 8 friend, and it's very funny because there are times where he'll have invited me to an event or something, and I'll say that I'll come, and when I say I'm coming, I'm going to come. But my work had me work very late, and so I didn't get to come for a while. And then what happened was he sent me a text message saying, "I'm not giving up on you." And it's very funny because I can just see that in this moment it was like this, like, no, the outside world cannot. And the reason I say that is because he was with an INTP friend of mine who was probably like, he's not coming. Like, just get over it. Like, you might as well think about it right now. Like, the probability of him showing up at 1 in the morning is very unlikely. So he was basically saying to my Enneagram 9 Wing 8 friend, look, give up, bro. And that Wing 8 came out and he's like, I can't give up. And it's this struggle where he feels that the outside world should not be able to control this right now. He thinks that the outside world cannot control his instinct, and his instinct is this, maybe getting to see me or something. But the point is that Wing 8 is like coming out like, no, like, this cannot happen. And it's a very immature thing. And the reason I say immature is because the wings often act immature. A lot of times, if you have the wing in your tri-type, it'll act less mature than it would in someone that didn't have that same wing in their tri-type. For example, I'm a 5 wing 4, and my tri-type is 5, 4, 9. So because I have wing 4 and 4 in my tri-type, it makes it a little bit less mature than somebody who had just wing 4 and didn't have it in their tri-type. It's because it's not as focused, and they don't know how to live in that personality. It just kind of comes out occasionally. So when it does, they haven't necessarily mastered it. That's not where their focus is at. So it comes off in a very immature way. So for the 8, it's all like, no, the outside world cannot. So he's like, I'm not giving up on you. That's a very wing kind of deal, where like for him it was his wing 8 acting in a less mature fashion. So that is the 9 wing 8. For the 9 wing 1, the 9 wing 1 would get very critical of themselves, more focused towards their inner self. So in a situation where they may look around them and see that there's some kind of conflict, a 9 wing 1 may look within themselves and say, no, this is the right way and this is the wrong way. But it's going to come off in a very immature fashion, just like before, where the 9 wing 1 will be like, no, this is the right way to do it. And it's this small instinct in them, that 1 in them, that's going, look, this is how it's supposed to be. And 1 is very perfectionistic, looks within themselves to determine this instinct. So for the 9 wing 1, they're going to look within themselves and say, this is what is right and this is what is wrong. And they're just going to push it forward and drive it forward. So so for the 9 wing 1, it's going to be very, they're going to get in a situation where there's maybe some conflict. And for the 9 wing 8, it was all about making sure the environment has no control over them and their instinct. For the 9 wing 1, it's going to be this very immature, this is what is correct. This is how it should be done. And the way it comes off is going to be very childish, especially if they're younger, because they haven't had enough time to develop that wing. So it's going to be very, very childish in a way. So that's how the 9 wing 8 and 9 wing 1 operate. Those are the wings for the 9. So now we're going to talk about Enneagram 9s who lead with thinking, who lead with feeling, intuition, and sensing. So for thinking 9s, 9s that have the T at the forefront of their personality, so extroverted thinking or introverted thinking. 9s are repressive because the two forces push against each other. So take the that repressive relationship, saying that causing them to be very unbiased, and that thinking type may rationalize the 2 points. Like, this person wants control over their environment because of that, because of this issue, this drive. And this person, they're looking within themselves. And so this instinct that they have is very dear to them. They may understand both sides, whereas somebody else may come off in a very aggressive format and somebody else may come off in a very protective format. There are 2 sides to this conversation, and there must be some way to unite them. There must be thinking type that's a Enneagram 9 would probably try to find the two viewpoints and how they kind of merge together, how there may be some right and wrong to both of them, and kind of unite those two. A feeling type that leads with 9 will probably be more. Oh yeah. So a feeling type with Enneagram 9 will probably look at the two people and understand that there are things that motivate them in that direction, that there are things that that person cares about that drives them, and may even feel both. May even look at the two individuals and feel both, and understand that like these two people have these motivations for a reason, and like feel it with them. And when I say feel it, I hope that people understand where I'm coming from. I'm not trying to say that feeling types feel other people's feelings and stuff, but I think that they have this, that's the way they relate in a way. So an Enneagram 9 feeling type would understand both drives and try to show them that, look, both of you have this care for it. What is it that causes this concern for your viewpoint? What is it that causes you to be so passionate? And that would be the correct way to handle it, in my personal opinion. Types that lead with intuition, that are Enneagram 9, will probably try to create entire other worlds where they can kind of rationalize where both people are coming from. And with the thinking type, I use the word rationalize. What I really meant was just trying to find the different viewpoints and understanding that these two viewpoints have both positive and negatives to that viewpoint. But for the intuition type, it's more about creating an entire other world that makes everything make sense. That makes it make sense that each person has their motivation. Because the 9 is very much not themselves without other people. There's this drive, like 9s feel alone. When they don't have people around them, they feel very empty, especially when it's a 9-wing 8. 9-wing 8s can feel very alone. Intuitive types that are Enneagram 9 will try to create entire other worlds where there are reasons. They may say, what is the reason that this person is so passionate about what they're saying? And just try to create all these things in their head as to why that person is the way they are. And they may and it's not like they're struggling to do this. It's like it happens naturally. It's not like they're trying to rationalize everything. It's like it happens. It's like there are, for the Enneagram 9, they wouldn't fight the situation because they feel that there are reasons and there are things that pull that person in that direction. And that's a very intuitive 9 thing. A sensing 9 would be would probably be very engaged in finding what it is that causes them both. I can see that a sensing type would recognize the physical movements and the physical passions that you can see. A sensing type would look at the individuals and go, both of you are so passionate, like that is amazing, and like just kind of try to bond it in that way. But a sensing type may also engage in a format of trying to find what it is that makes them both so passionate about it. But it's not really a try. Like the 9s don't really try in a sense. It's all very peaceful. It's not very, there's no force really. And that's just the thing about the type 9. I'm going to wrap it up really quick. Is that the type 9s, it's instinct. It's controlling the outside world and also having to deal with the internal instincts. So it causes this lack of movement. They are frozen. And so for a type 9, it is very very frozen. They don't act on things, and so you won't feel a force in the conversation. You won't feel that. A type 9 is very much the conversation as a whole, and I don't mean they talk a lot. I mean that they kind of embody the group. Their presence is just, it's not, there's no driving force. Like in me, when I'm in a group setting, I just tear through. Like I just, if I feel like it, like if I get in the mood, I'll just tear through, and like I am the one leading the entire group. And I'm an ENTJ type 5, so it's all this it's all this witty it's like a driven, witty force. But for a type 9, it is very placid, and not in a bad way. It's very, placid is not the right word. It's very peaceful and harmonious. It's almost like nothing's moving. It's just the stillness in the way that they are as a person. But with the 9-wing 8, they will try to take control of that environment, and maybe come off in an immature way. And with the type 1, it'll all be about this moralistic, or how this should be, that they will drive forward because of their own inner struggles. So I hope that this Enneagram 9 video shed some light on Enneagram 9, helped you understand Enneagram a bit better. I'm going to be making videos for the 8 and the 1 next, and then I will move on to the heart triad, the 2, 3, and 4, and the mind triad, the 5, 6, and 7. So, like I said, thank you so much for watching. I hope that I provided some insights. You should check out our other videos. We've got relationship videos, like dating. We've got Myers-Briggs videos. It's all about cognitive theory. It's really cool stuff. And we've got more stuff to come. We've got some really awesome projects we're working on, so I'm really pumped for that. We're all actually learning a lot right now, so that we can provide really great content to you guys. So thank you so much. If you're not subscribed, subscribe, like the video. Thank you so much. Have an amazing day. Ciao.